Welcome back to Burn the Ship, the podcast where we connect entrepreneurs to professionals to help you go all in on your business. I'm your host, Ezra Brown. Without further ado, I'm going to allow my guest to introduce himself.
I am Shawn Braley with FAS Maintenance. FAS is faster and superior maintenance.
Awesome, Shawn. Kind of tell us a little story, man. Did you have that entrepreneur spirit as a young kid, or is it something where you went and worked corporate before you went into fast and superior maintenance? What kind of got you sparked in the entrepreneur space?
I started working when I was 8 years old. We weren't wealthy, and if I needed money, I started mowing yards and collecting aluminum cans, stuff like that. And then I've always had desires to have my own company. I almost started a private investigator company when I was 17, but I didn't have the experience.
Right.
And was a police cadet in the town I grew up in for 3.5 years, then ended up going in the military. And after that, just seemed to find myself working for others and making them good profit margins. And fast forward up until about 5 years ago when I started FAS Maintenance, one of my customers in the fire industry had a remark made to me. He said, "I wish I can have a maintenance company that responds like you do on the fire side." So my oldest son and I created FAS Maintenance, and for a little over 5 years now, we've been in business. We've had our ups and downs, like most small businesses.
Right.
And now we have our own office and warehouse, and we have about 12 people that work for us, and we have goals. We're in the process of getting our contractor's license on the fire sprinkler side of the realm that I had been involved in for 25 years of my life. And
That's awesome.
we plan on expanding that into the fire alarm and then security alarm, extinguishers, fire extinguishers. We plan on doing a electrical contractor license, general contractor license, and not just stay here in Vegas. We have aspirations to go to Phoenix, Salt Lake City, Southern California, Washington, to stay in
Absolutely.
this region.
Absolutely. And then, so, working for other people, you kind of got to see kind of what you wanted your business to be ran like, how you wanted it to be structured. But what would you say has been like the hardest thing for you guys as being, new into the entrepreneur side over the past 5 years? What's been, hard for you guys?
Employee retention.
Right.
You every time you interview somebody, they always promise you the world. We are very transparent with how we run our business. We are not as people are used to corporate settings. Yes, we do our HR and we do things the right way. We're more level on communication. Our motto is to treat everybody with love, kindness, and respect as Jesus Christ teaches.
Absolutely.
And we implore that in our company. So we don't allow, and people are understanding, we don't put up with, arguments or disgruntlement,
Right.
sorry. Um, we work it out. Everybody has a say. This is not an anarchy. Even though I have a couple business partners, we talk about how we run things. We talk to employees about any issues, and we work it out. If it doesn't work out, then it doesn't. But the hardest part is employee trust.
Right.
You have employees that say they're doing stuff for you and end up they're not at the job site, and they claim that they want to be paid, and
Yep.
yeah, it's stealing. That's another thing. It's hard to trust employees to uh, purchase items. I have to check
Right.
receipts. Thank goodness we have electronic receipts, so they can't say I lost my receipt. I can see what they purchased. So when you see a energy drink on the receipt or a tool that isn't for a job and it's a tool
Right.
they're buying for themselves, then we can, talk to them about that.
Right.
Not that
Yeah. No, that
I
makes
don't
sense.
care that we buy energy drinks, but when you buy a $400 tool, or, you know,
Yeah. No, that it adds up, and it's and there's if one person's doing it, I guarantee there's more than one. You know what I mean?
that's correct. And as an employer, you can't deduct that. You can't take that from their paycheck. It's illegal. You could fire them.
Right.
If they don't agree to pay for it, you can fire them, but you can't get your money back.
Right. And then you're losing that worker too. It could be a really good worker.
Correct. He just has
That's
some issues that he's dealing with, maybe at home. I don't know, but
that makes
that's
sense.
one
Though.
of our
That's like so.
challenges.
I do a ton of these interviews, and I talk to a lot of people, and that's one thing that they haven't really brought up is that retention. Of workers that keeping them around and stuff like that. That's the first I've heard that, because usually they talk about their personal issue of not being able to do accounting or whatever in the office. But that makes a lot of sense, because they do drive what the business essentially. You know what I mean? If not, you got to get out there and start turning the wrench for them.
Correct.
And that's why you started the business, so you ain't got to be the one doing it anymore.
Correct. But I'm also the kind of guy that isn't afraid to go out and work side by side or get jobs done. I
Right.
don't know everything or how to do everything the best, but that's what we hire people for.
Right.
You
That
know,
makes sense.
if it's drywall repair and I don't do well in drywall repair, I don't have to worry about that, right?
Absolutely. And what would you say, segueing off of that, about what's the hardest part is, but what's been easy for you? What have you done really well over the last 5 years? What's kind of kept you going, and you feel is one of the strong suits about you in the business?
Well, I don't like patting myself on the back, but sales, customer service, that's what I'm good at. I'm good at
Yep.
talking with the customers, making sure the communication's open. And it doesn't always happen. About 98% of the time, we're good on that, but there's always personality conflict that you run into, or somebody just doesn't
Mm-hmm.
like you for whatever reason. You can't stop that. So you just drive on and move forward. I taught myself QuickBooks, and
Right.
you learn by your mistakes. Our first bookkeeper CPA claimed she was a CPA, wasn't, messed up our books a lot, and never reconciled every month, and didn't do our taxes on time. And I'm not one to evade taxes. It's our priorities in our company are pay the employees, pay our taxes, pay our bills, and if there's any leftovers, sometimes I don't get a paycheck. Sometimes our
Right.
partners don't get a paycheck, right?
Right. No, that
So
makes sense.
that's the biggest struggle. And having a we started this out of our own money, so having a bankroll, as people put it, we don't have that. We don't have investors. I've talked to investors, and um, most cases they want too much ownership, or they want too much out of it.
Right.
There's one investor I'm talking to now, good guy, and he'd be an asset to bringing him aboard, and he's not asking too much. It's the comfortability of bringing that other person on. It's the comfortability of knowing, or the unknowns of what he or how he's going to do things, or how he sees our books, or how
Right.
we run things.
Right.
So that's
No, that
that's
makes
just those are the struggles right there, and the slow months. We have slow months in the construction industry, and not that we're a general contractor, we're not, but it affects people because once it comes to November, people go on vacations. They start thinking about Thanksgiving. Budgets for people are excuse me, already high.
Mm-hmm.
For commercial customers,
Right.
that's when a lot of the work stops or drops. So November, December,
Right.
January, it starts picking up about mid-January, and then it snowball effect. There, everybody wants their service work. They have new budgets. They have funding
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
until unless halfway through the year, like last year, one of our customers had a their corporate walked all their locations and said, "Well, we're going to cut the budget in half." Well, cut the budget in half, and stuff isn't getting done for their properties. It's
Right.
simple stuff that should be. And that's another struggle, is them thinking that sometimes our charges are too much
Right.
because we charge normally $95 an hour and $125 trip charge, and people don't realize they complain, but they don't realize it costs me $55 an hour to send out an employee.
Right.
That's insurance, that's general liability, workman's comp,
Yeah, absolutely.
fuel, all that, and their pay. And $55 an hour is kind of pushing it. It's
Right.
probably more, $60 an hour with the economy it's been the last 4 years
And
with
speaking
COVID.
on, speaking on that, what would you say, how are you guys getting, what would you say has been the biggest way y'all have driven business to you guys? What business, or let me reframe that actually. What businesses are you guys specifically looking for? You know what I mean? Everybody has that little group setting. Everybody's always an ideal client, but what are you guys specifically looking for, Shawn?
Well, we look for commercial and residential. So on the commercial side, property managers, realtors who are selling properties, but there's home inspection discrepancies that come to play, and they don't have anybody that they can refer to fix those.
Right.
You know, stairs that need to be painted, or a door that needs to be adjusted, or you know, drywall patch that needs to happen. So those are people we target, and we're starting to target home inspectors. So
Okay.
home inspectors usually, they write up a discrepancy list for the home seller,
Yeah.
and the home seller doesn't know who to go to get that done usually.
Right.
So they'll go to uh, an app, you know, Angie's or whoever else.
Mm-hmm.
And we belonged to Angie's before, but at the time their costs were too high,
Yeah.
and they've changed their ways. So I'm getting ready to join Angie's again.
Yeah.
But that's best for our residential customers.
Okay.
You know,
No, that makes sense, because I was just wondering, because everybody's got like their bread and butter on what their business does and has the most with, and what would you say is the biggest way that you've grown it, over the 5 years? How have you guys went and got your name out? Do you do any networking, word of mouth? Is it all, what is it? How have you guys done that?
we're on LinkedIn. We have a website. We've changed our website provider just about 6 months ago, and um, them doing, putting us on Google search uh, targeting has given us probably 400% more hits on our website than what we were getting before.
Which is awesome. That's
And
always the goal.
so it is networking. We have a Facebook page, a LinkedIn page, our website. Um, we do a lot of phone calling. So
Yeah.
calling property management companies, trying to get on the vendor list. But the challenge with that, we get on the vendor list, is them calling us for work, because they're always saying, we always hear, yes, we need people like you. But I feel that they're set in their ways with who they've been using, right? One of our commercial or one of our commercial customers uses other maintenance companies, but they always seem to be reassigning the work orders to us because they don't respond quick enough.
Right.
It's that faster and superior attitude, and that's why I came up with that name, is to be able to respond. And sometimes we can, sometimes we can't. But if we can't, then I'll go out there and I'll walk the job, and I'll get the quotes out for them and the estimates. And it's better than a one-man shop or two-man shop where only one guy is doing the selling or the walking. When in our case, we have multiple team members that do that.
Right. No, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. And then, what would you say, is something that you've done really well, through this time that you've been able to kind of lean on?
It's customer service, customer service, customer service. It's talking to the customer, and even if you feel that they're mad at you or they have an issue with a job, and again, doesn't happen very often, but it does.
Right.
Nobody's perfect. We're only as good as our team members, and if you don't communicate with those customers, then they're going to find another. They're going to find another vendor. They're going to find someone else to do the work, or think they can. And we run into that a lot too. Your prices are too high, like I mentioned earlier, and they come back to us a couple months later because our prices aren't too high. The other customers go on there and try to, or the
Yo.
other vendors, sorry, go on and try to undermine our pricing, or promise the world we'll do it for cheaper, and they end up not being able to uh, make a profit margin big enough to take care of their overhead.
No, absolutely. That's something that we see a ton with in our business, and success wise, it helps us a ton. Because we have in-house customer service team, and most 99% of people that do merchant service or have merchant service companies, you got to give a call a 1-800 number, be on hold, talk to 15 different people about. All you need is asking about a $5 transaction, or sometimes it's the world sets on fire, and it's
Right.
different. But most time it's typically an insignificant thing, and if we don't answer the phone, it bowls over. You know how many people there are like me that are walking around going in places, like people get calls about them all the time, all the time. But it helps us, and that's why this business has been so successful for us, is just because we do have an in-house team. You get our number, you talk with us, and that's why I can really relate to that, because it brings people to you too, because it makes your clients, when you take care of them, want to be like, hey, have you worked with so and so down the road? Like your case, it's like, hey, have you worked with this lady? She runs this apartment building. I know her because I worked there, or I worked with her. So it helps you get business, in that side. So I can definitely relate to that.
It is a lot of personal connections. So our team members, a couple of them are from Vegas. They grew up here. They went to high school here. They know a lot of people that went to property management, or realty, or
Yeah.
uh, in that direction. So we have those connections also. And when it comes to our phone number, we have an office phone number. It's our main number, and um, when we're not open, it goes direct. It forwards to my cell phone number, so they're always getting somebody to answer.
Right. Yeah, which is the way to do it, though, because people want to talk to people. People want to do business. People. I know that the world don't seem that way, because everybody wants to go technology-wise, but people would want to do business with face-to-face people. You know what I mean? They want to do it with somebody they can talk to, or call. Somebody's going to ask how their kids are doing. Just the small things that they don't care about, but they do when it happens. You know what I mean? They're
Right.
not thinking about it in the back of their mind. They're not being like, man, I wonder if Shawn really wants to know how my kids are doing today. Like, no, Shawn could really not give a shit, but he's going to give a little bit of emotion to it, to be like, look, man, because he does care. He's just not thinking about it. It's not something he thinks about on a regular basis.
Right. There's a thousand things that fall onto my lap every week, and I take it in stride. We do care about our customers. We try to connect with them when we talk to them, especially homeowners. We are a frugal company. We try to save money for our customers. So if they're veterans, we give a 15% veteran discount. If they're seniors, we give a 10% senior discount. And no,
It's
I
awesome.
don't. I don't raise our prices 15% or 10% so that we're still making the same profit margin. I eat that, but I eat that because I respect veterans. I'm a veteran myself, and
Thank you for your
whether
service, too.
they're making six figures a year, it doesn't matter who they are, what they are. It's trying to take care of our brothers and sisters in that regard. And then seniors are usually on a fixed income, so
Right.
every little bit helps for them. And we don't,
Yeah.
we use quality materials to the best of our ability. If they complain about the price or say it's too high, then we give them other alternatives. We give them, okay, well, we go on our lower end, it's going to lower the price this much, or we get customers that want higher end stuff.
Right.
We always go in the medium part of pricing
Yeah.
on products, to, this is what I would want in my house, and or this is what I would want in my business, and that's how we think. We
Absolutely.
try to keep
Absolutely.
that train of thought.
And what would you say? So this is the really the last thing I got for you is, you went all in. You burnt. You were living a normal, regular life, not in the entrepreneur space. That weren't hair wetting on fire, for every once in a while. What was that emotion when you went out and you fully burnt the ship? You took off from the corporate space and took off into the entrepreneur journey.
I did it because I wasn't challenged as much as I wanted to be or needed to be. So
Right.
if I get, from my personality, my character, if I get bored because it's the same old, then I'm not as productive as if I'm challenged.
Yep.
And when you are selling for a company or working for a company, and you are either going to agree with the way they run things or silently, complain. But my philosophy regarding working, if you don't like what you're doing, then do something you like.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I
I
like the
completely agree.
fire industry. I was in it for 25 years. We're getting back in it as a company, but I didn't agree with how the companies were run. I didn't agree with how they managed their people. I didn't agree with how they thought about the bottom line. Yes, bottom line is important, but if we can't, if you don't have happy employees, their work production is going to be lower. If they're
Mm-hmm.
not getting paid, not what they feel they should get paid, but if they're not getting paid more than what the average employee should get paid for a certain position, they're going to be looking somewhere else. So we try to pay our guys and girls more than what the market is. Again, it hits our bottom line, but it doesn't because they're going to be more productive. It hits our bottom line on the financial side on paper, but to reiterate, it doesn't because they're more productive, they're more happy, they're different environment, and we don't hold people to days off or PTO days. Yes, full time employees, we offer that after a year being here with us or
Right.
3 months for the PTO, anyways. But if they have a kid that needs to go, they're sick and they
Yeah.
can't come in, then don't come in. We
Right.
don't discredit them or ding them for having those for
It's
having that responsibility. Because I was a single parent, I raised three of my kids by myself, and I know the challenges of getting them to school, sporting events, whatever they get involved in. Right?
absolutely. Yeah. No, that makes sense. No, for sure. Because we do the same thing here. Essentially, I couldn't ask for a much better environment to be around because that and it makes people appreciate you too, though. You know what I mean? Because they're like, man, Shawn is a real guy. It's not like the big grim reapers walking up whenever you walk in the office and they're there. They probably come up, talk to you, shake your hand, sit down, have a conversation with you, not cowered out and be scared.
They do. We have an open door policy. So if you have an issue, come talk to somebody. Go talk to somebody that you're comfortable talking with. It doesn't have to be me. It doesn't have to be my business partners. It could be it could be anybody.
Right. And then the last thing I got, Shawn, is you can leave the people with the last word here.
Well, don't stop working towards your dreams. If you have a dream, if you have a goal, work on it. No matter how hard or difficult or challenging it might look or seem, because if you're not happy working for yourself or if you're not happy where you're at, go and find something else. Fast maintenance has been a blessing in our lives. It's been able to provide income for our employees and a freedom for them that they wouldn't have with other companies or corporations. We take care of our customers, and again, 2% of our customers, maybe 1% aren't always happy, but we can't keep everybody happy for whatever reason. And don't let those challenges, and don't let when it's slow or when you're struggling for money or for work, don't let it kick you to where you're not going to get back up. We always got to get back up, get back on the bicycle and ride it, get back on the horse and ride it. And
Absolutely. That
that's
makes total
my
sense. Once
thoughts.
again, guys, burn the ship.
Burn.